All right, today we have a nice Parker-Majestic tool room type grinder, cylindrical grinder. This is also a universal grinder. It has an ID attachment on it. Right now we have it just in its longitudinal grinding mode. In other words, our table is moving, although slowly, back and forth between the dogs that I have set here. Your infeed is with this hand wheel, and you have a dead stop that you could put here. And you also have a fine feed dial. This is your electric switch here, your actual reversal of the table. Now on the power, you have in the back of the machine motor which is driving this, and there are 3 other speeds that this table can go. Obviously, if you're doing a long shaft like this, you'd probably want to go good and slow. So when this is running, you're going to see, right now I have all the covers off the machine so you can see what's going on here. And normally there would be covers over the wheel, and covers over that belt there, and a cover somewhat over this cam thing there. But right now, I could stop the table by stopping it here. And if you want to work this by hand, you push this in, and now you can actually fold this down out of the way, and you can come over here and use this little dresser that's mounted on your tailstock, if everything can reach, to dress your wheel. This currently has a 10-inch chuck on here with reversible jaws. Now the chuck is mounted to a faceplate, and the faceplate is mounted to a spindle nose taper, which is on here, which will be listed on our quote. It's probably a lathe type spindle nose, the A style 5A. Also, the interior of the spindle, the nose of the ID of the spindle, is a 5C collet. So when you take that chuck off of there, let's just stop this, and let's go ahead and stop this. When you take this chuck off of here, you could put a 5C collet right in, and then it's going to screw into the back of this drawbar, which is going to go through your spindle. And then you tighten it up, and with the collet, you're going to clamp down on your workpiece. So that's what this is for. You also have, right now this is what you would consider live. Our whole spindle is turning. This machine comes with several belts that you can remove to run it as an ID grinder rather than as an external grinder. If I'm going to work with this stone wheel, then I obviously need this belt on. But in the back is an ID spindle, and also, you know, this pulley is going. It's one motor, but there's no belt attaching it into the ID spindle until you put that belt on and take this belt off. Same with the workhead. It has a belt back here with 3 different speeds. One belt connects it when you have this live spindle, and then you can move the smaller belt to the 2 different speeds to get different speeds on this. Plus, you have variable. Electronically. So there's a lot of adjustment with the speed. This is your locking pin here. You move this down and you can lock your spindle in at some point right there to unscrew your chuck if you wanted to. So when you take your chuck off and you want to grind workpieces between centers, they like to lock the spindle and just rotate an external driver. Well, that's what this mechanism here is. This comes with the machine. This is going to screw. Inside here is a thread, the same thread that's on the other side of this spindle nose. So this is not a A5. This is a thread, a special thread, which is inside of here. And this has bearings. So when this is screwed on, this is going to stay stationary. And this is your outer driver drum. You're going to attach a driver to this, and it's going to rotate even though the spindle is shut off, not turning. This is going to rotate and drive your actual part. And then you actually put a belt on here, and the belt that goes on there now is going to go to this little pulley that you see here. Do you see that? Let's come around the back. We're talking about this pulley now is going to go, in place of the chuck, you're going to mount this on the front, and you're going to run a small belt between this. You're going to lock your spindle so that just this outer drum is rotating. And again, you'll take off the belt here so that you're not trying to fight against the locked spindle. Same here as your ID spindle. Here's your wheel. You got two different speeds you can use, and here's your ID spindle. You can slide this in or slide this out depending on which sheave you want to use, which pulley you want to use. The whole thing swivels around. I don't want to hit anything. I probably have to take the tailstock off so that I can actually swivel it. Then you've got two nuts here, one here and one in the back, in the front. So you could slide this whole thing back another 5 inches or so. But when you go around with this thing is going to stick out a little bit more toward the front. Your tailstock here, let's follow me around. Tailstock here is mounted on a eccentric pin. Once you loosen this up, you can just slide your tailstock off. Put it over to the side and come in now with your ID grinding wheel. A couple of things it has with the ID grinding. On your workhead, you have the option of turning the this is a normal direction toward the operator for OD grinding. This guy has the option to turn this so that it goes the opposite way for internal grinding. You can also reverse this motor, the same idea. When you're doing external grinding, you have your wheel coming toward you, but when you do the ID grinding, you want this wheel is going the other way and you're grinding toward the back of your workpiece. So this lets you actually grind like a true ID grinder by having the spindle being able to be change directions, and the workhead. When you're ID grinding, people like to do reciprocation. So what this has, with this whole mechanism here is this. You want to have it in the free position. Okay, when you have this pulled out, you're going to feel that it's engaged, and then you're going to be using the electric motor, and you're going to be using this switch to change your direction and setting your dogs with this. When you want to use the reciprocation, you push this in so that this is free, and let's say this is where you want it to be. Let's say you had a thing in there. Then you loosen this up and slide this over. Okay, this gets locked into position here. I need an Allen wrench. I don't know if this is the right one. Probably not. This is all American, this machine, or inch. So we tighten these down wherever you want to have them. And you have a little gate here that goes up and down so you can get out of this to go over, say, and dress your wheel, do whatever you're going to do, and then you come back down and lock this little gate back in. So now, when we start the table, you're going to do this. And what's different? Well, you could almost do that with this, but you know, this is meant to do what it's doing right now. This is meant for ID grinding or external grinding when your workpiece diameter that you're grinding is smaller than the wheel that you're using. So if you had a 1-inch wheel on there and you're grinding a 3/4 inch part, you could set this up so that you're bringing your part, reciprocating back and forth across the wheel. Now this is at its slowest speed. Generally you'd want to do this at a faster speed, so you would switch the belts so that it goes faster. Now the stroke that it's making here is adjusted here. There's a long set screw that goes through here, and you loosen this outer nut. The closer to the center you get with this, the smaller of the stroke you get. The further to the outside, the longer of a stroke you get. This is your lubrication. Your one shot, you pull that, you get lubrication. Your coolant system is this pump right here. It's actually built into the machine. The tank slides underneath the machine inside of it. There's a couple of nuts and bolts or nuts that you pull off and can slide the whole thing out to clean it. The workhead is also going to swivel. It's mounted on a swivel base, so when you want to put this on a certain angle and the head on a certain angle, you can swivel your workhead. The entire tabletop itself is also a swivel. There's an adjustment here where you can swivel this whole table. We had everything apart. This machine was rebuilt in the past by this company, Seminole Machinery. They did a very nice job. They re-scraped everything. They put Teflon coating on the ways, and we'll show you that on some of the photographs. All in all, this machine is really nice. Like I said, I have the guards off just for this demonstration. And any other questions should be answered in the quotation or through your salesman. Again, thank you very much. This is currently wired for 220 volts. I think I said that. We have a full set of manuals, a full set of electrical diagrams. It's a really nice machine. Thank you.